And we're live. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about some D&D stuff. Some of the stuff that I really enjoy kind of talking about. D&D has been a lot of fun for me recently. I've been in Barbados for a while and kind of left all my friends behind. So D&D is a great way to continue talking to them, kind of just have fun. Game night was a huge thing for me. I love doing game nights. And so D&D has really helped in that way. And on top of that, it's just a lot of fun, and it's a great creative outlet. So I'm back to talk about more. Recently, I have been doing a lot of DMing, which is to say being a dungeon master, which is kind of like the head honcho and the living rulebook of your game of Dungeons and Dragons. So that's a lot of fun. Like doing that. Yeah, today I wanted to talk about some lighting. I use Roll20 as my digital tabletop, and recently I got the ability to do dynamic lighting with it. Dynamic lighting is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and I was able to run a session with it last week, and one of my players said, we were going through a dungeon crawl, right? And beforehand, with the type of lighting is kind of just like reveal the map as you move, and everything behind it, like everything you've already seen, is already revealed, which is great. I did that for probably a year or so. But yeah, that's the way I kind of did it for a while. And it's a lot of fun. I love doing it like that. But I think dynamic lighting in certain situations, obviously not all, are really kind of cool for the player. Like I was saying before, I did a session with dynamic lighting. When would that have been? I don't know, last week. I don't know why I have the hardest time remembering that. And we were going through a dungeon, and one of my players was like, "That's really cool. I really enjoy that. I think that's I think that's really cool." She said it really helped add atmosphere and kind of make the dungeon more spooky. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going for. Kind of making the dungeon more spooky. And it also relied on the players actually remembering their way through a dungeon instead of literally leaving just breadcrumbs of 5 foot of light behind them. It's not to say that some players don't know, not some players. It's not to say some characters wouldn't know where they've been and where they've come, especially if they've had a good intelligence or whatever. But I think it's more fun to kind of do it like this. I'm excited to show it off. It's really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to watch this transition now. Did it work? Did it work? Did it work? Did it work? I think it worked. I've got transitions now. Ooh, well, what's this? Whoa, look at that. So what I've got here is kind of a basic dungeon. This is one that my players have never seen before. This is a free map that was given to me on Roll20. So this is a basic map, and this would be your character. I just got this as a basic knight or whatever. He can move around. Right now, there's obviously no dynamic lighting. This dungeon here that you can see would be if there was if this was out in the open and it was daytime. So the player can see everything that the screen is here right now. Makes it really obvious, right? Let me show you a little bit of Fog of War in Legacy. So in Fog of War, you come over here, you go to hide areas, and you can just shift click, and you can hide all this, right? Turn on Fog of War. When you turn on Fog of War, all of it becomes fogged. So let's see this from the player's perspective. Control L. That's what the player sees right now. Fog of War covers everything. So you can just escape out of that. And then you can go through here and you can reveal areas. Now reveal areas I've had issues with in the past with it not working properly. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So now I've revealed a little bit of the area. So now we go back to what the player can see. He can see that. That's all he gets to see. And so if he comes up here and he's like, oh, I look around, this corner over here, what do I see? Then you have to, as the dungeon master, go in there and manually be like, okay, what you see, this is what I mean, right? That's not going to reveal anything because it's dark. Fog of War does that sometimes, at least to me. So I'm going to go in here and hopefully reset it. Reveal areas, yes, okay. So you have to go in there and be like, okay, now you can see that, or now you can see all that. And now the player can be like, oh, okay, what do I see now? Boom, now you get to see all that. So it works, and it's cool, and it's fun. And if you don't have the money to spend on Pro or whatever to get the dynamic lighting, then it works perfect. You know, I don't think any player would be upset with that. But with dynamic works a little bit different. So I'm going to turn on dynamic lighting, and you have to hit save settings in order for it to work. So I'm just going to kind of go through here real quick. With dynamic lighting, you can turn on daylight mode, which means it's global illumination. It's like what we saw before I turned on the Fog of War. They can see the whole map. So there's that option too. Explorer mode is kind of advanced Fog of War, where anything that their character sees as they move along will have that like breadcrumb droppage, and they'll be able to see the path that they took already to get there, and they'll everything that they see in their field of view stays there permanently, and it doesn't go back dark again. Update when token drop. I'll get into that a little bit later. GM Darkness Opacity, that just means like how dark do you want the area that your players can't see to be for you. I have mine on 35% so I can kind of get an idea of what they can't see, but I can still see it. Don't you oof me, nothing happened. So we're going to save those settings, and I forgot to close it, but Bryce, just close your eyes. So now it's dynamic lighting. So if we were to click on the character, they still can't see anything. In order for them to see something, you got to go into settings, go to dynamic lighting in here, and turn on that they have vision. Now they have vision. Cool. They still can't see anything. They can see themselves. They know where they are relative to absolutely nothing, but they can see themselves. So go to dynamic lighting, and let's say this person is half elf, so they have some night vision. All right, night vision distance. I think what's a half elf, like 30 feet, 60 feet, something like that. So 60. And you can tint the color to make it look gray or red if you want, if they're raging or something. So let's just go with that for now. So now they have dark vision, and they can see all this. Now this is a really small map that I'm showing you on, so I'm going to kind of bump that down a little bit, because 60 feet is essentially the whole thing. We're just going to go with like 15 feet for now. Save settings. Alright, so they can see this. Gotta stop clicking off the player. So yeah, they can see this now. This is their field of view. And as they move, their field of view moves too. So one player can be way over here and see only this area around them. But you can have another player way over here. In fact, let me add one. Go down to free assets. Let's just find a character. Knight. That'll work well. Let's drop the knight in there. Click off of him. And now let's give him vision and night vision out to, what I give the other one, 15 feet? Let's go 15 feet. And let's give this one a red tent. Why not? It looks kind of cool. So let's do this. So now we have two characters that are on opposite sides, and there's no way that they can see each other, right? So how does that look for them? So you go in here, Control L. He can't see a darn thing that the other player can see. This is him walking around. That's all he can see. He can go over here and, oh, look, there's that player. But they don't see the red tent. They just see, okay, that's what I see. Now if we were to go over to him, Control L, everything that he sees has a little reddish tint to it. So he can move around and he can see the other person, but even they look red to him. So it's really cool, and you as the GM can see, okay, he's got kind of like a darker field of view, and the one has got the red or whatever. But they can't see each other, You actually have to go over to a certain place in order to see what's going on. And so that's like one of the main things that I really love about this sort of thing. Now then, you see this thing in the middle? I think this map is called like the altar or something like that. So I think that's supposed to be like some sort of altar in the middle. Let's pretend that's like a big pillar, right? So they're not going to be able to see around that. So how do you make that? Over here, you got your map and background level. So if you click on that, right now I can't click on those players. I can click on the map and move it around, because this is a map I just did the drag and drop on. But I can't move the players. If I'm on the objects and tokens, you can move the objects and tokens, but not the map. GM info overlay. Here's kind of cool. I'm not really going to be going over this too much, but you can like go in here and label things if you want. You can be like, you know, this is whatever. Enter, and now it's in there. It's really small, but you can, oh wait, escape, back to select. You can delete that. But only you, as the GM, would be able to see that. Nobody else would. But when you have dynamic lighting, you get a fourth little thing, dynamic lighting. And here's where you can kind of create barriers. So what I like to do is I go to polygon line, and if things are dark in here, I make this line, and you'll see why in a minute, to be a starkly different color than anything else that's happening here. So let's go with like a bright green. And we'll leave this one as invisible. With a polygon, what you can do is you can draw different kinds of shapes, and it'll fill in whatever. We're just going to be drawing lines. So let's do that. So with polygon, hold shift in order to click just the corners. Click once here, once here, once here, once here. And then once you click here, it'll kind of be cool. So that creates a barrier in the dynamic lighting that players can't see through. Let me prove this. Objects and tokens. Oops. Still on the polygon. It's important to pick your tools, people. What does he see? Oh, there's a big thing in the middle, and I can't see past it. On any side, what's on the other side of the room? I don't know. That person stayed in their field of view. Oh no, that was just him. It shows where you move from. I was confused. But yeah, and it updates in real time as you move around, right? So that's really cool. I really like that. So let's go over here, and I'm going to turn on something else. Okay. So we go over here to dynamic lighting, and now we're going to go to update when token drop. Turn that on. So now this is where the token is. Uh-oh. Now it doesn't update when he moves. It updates only when he drops. That way you don't have characters that are going like, I'm just going to go way over here because I can see everything. Because as they're clicking and dragging, you as the DM don't see them drag. You don't see their token move all over the place. You just see them, they're over here, and then all of a sudden they're way over there. And you're like, how'd you get over there? So this is kind of a way to do that if you want to. And you can get them in here. And so this is inside the barrier, so they can't see out. What I have kind of on my, yeah, it's really cool. I really like this version of map exploring. It's a lot of fun, and I think it makes it way more immersive. And I think that's one of my biggest goals, either playing D&D or being a DM, is just being really immersed. And I think this really helps set the the atmosphere of it. It's really cool. So let's see. Let's go. I don't care, Bryce. You can see these if you want. You're not going to get any information about them, though. Haha. Let's see. Let's turn off update when token drop. And let's turn on... Where is it? Maybe it's not in the page settings. Maybe it's in... Dynamic lighting barrier restricts movement. So this is really cool. Turn that on, save the settings, get out of here. So now let's say you're this character. You're looking around. Yeah, okay, I turned off token drop. Looking around, you're like, well, I can't see through there, but I think I can walk through there, right? Like it's an invisible door or something. No, you can't. No, you can't. You cannot move through that barrier. The dynamic lighting just says, nope, there's a wall there. You cannot pass. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You're stuck. You can go anywhere else you want to, but you can't. I mean, you can try and build up speed, but you can't get in there. Now, you as the DM might be like, but I kind of want to put them in there because maybe that's like a jail cell or something. So you can be like, oh, sure, as the GM, plop them in there. Now they're in there. Go to what the player sees, and they're like, oh, frick, now I can't get out. I have no idea how to get out. There's nothing they can do to move their character out of there and see something they're not supposed to or something. So that's really cool. I really like that. But as the GM, you have the power to just move them wherever you want. Because you are the rules. And you can do whatever you want. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of dynamic lighting. That's one of the things that I really like in D&D. I think it's really cool. Let me show you one more thing about the dynamic lighting. So that's kind of, that's whatever. Let's say you want to take it off now. Like there was a spell that was like cast and they couldn't see past it. I don't know what kind of spell that would be. Whatever. Maybe it was a secret door. Now you want to let them through. How do I do that? I mean, you can just click on this and hit delete. And now you can see their vision auras poking through there. And they'll be able to see everything. Go in here. And now they can see that. They can walk through it. And they can do all that stuff. But let's say there's like a door, right here on that square. So how are you going to do that? You don't want to get rid of the whole wall, you just want to get rid of the square. Easy. You get your dynamic lighting tool, make it green, go right there, right there, and there, leaving that space open. And then you hit right click. That puts that in set. Now, let's switch back over to the objects and see what's going on right here. Hit the right tool. What can you see? They can see through that little door, they can. Look at that. And as they move, it updates. Now you can go through it, and you can only see out through that one little hole right there. So that's really cool. I really like that function. Let's go back to dynamic lighting. So you say, okay, but when they first walk in the room, I don't want them to be able to see in there. I want there to be like a hidden entrance that they have to find. Or even if it's not a hidden entrance, maybe it's just a door that they can see there, a stone door, wood door, whatever. And I don't want them to see in until they open that door. Because that makes sense, right? So you go over here, and you go to draw your little shape again. But this time, let's not make it green. This time, let's make it, let's go blue. Why not blue? Now you can go boop, boop, right click. Let's go over here to tokens, select, look through. So now, they walk into the room for the first time. Oh, there's a big old pillar here. Can't see through it. They do see the door though. So they walk up to the door. Maybe the wizard casts knock. Do you want to open the door? Sure, you can open the door. Let's go over here to dynamic lighting. How do we get rid of that door? Easy. Delete. Now the door is open. And let's say they close the door later because, as they open the door, they see some big monster in there and they don't want to fight it. So they try and lock the door again. Easy. Just go over there. Boom, boom, right click, door's closed. They can't see in there. Now you as the DM have all the opportunity in the world to take whatever monster that was in here. Let me just find one real quick for sake of example. Yeah, that looks cool. You got a orc warrior, why not? You got an orc warrior in there. Now you have all the ability in the world after they shut that door. They can't see in there. They don't know what's going on. So you can get rid of that orc. Wow. Maybe it was just an illusion that they saw when they opened the door. Maybe that was the trap. Or maybe it was a orc wizard, go with me, and he casts invisibility on himself. They open the door back up again. What? Where'd the orc go? Don't see anything. And that's something that you couldn't really do if you had legacy lighting, because then they'd be able to see it the whole time, and like, you know, it'd be different, and you'd have to go back in there and hide it again with fog of war. And when you go back and you conceal something again after they've already been able to see it, when you conceal anything else in the dungeon behind them, that's sketchy. And any player worth his wits would be like, something's going on in there. No, it's up to the player to not metagame and not be like, oh, my player wouldn't know that, so I'm not gonna, kind of go off that info. But everyone metagames every now and then. You'd see that, oh, the DM concealed that room. Definitely nothing's happening in there. Nothing sketchy at all going on in there. Don't know what's going on in there. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Something that I really enjoy. I really like the dynamic lighting here.